Hello and welcome to Digital Nation, your weekly journey around the country seen through the lens of your local TV channels. In this week's show, we see how prison education is helping bring out the artistic side of inmates. We visit a historic spade and shovel making mill in Northern Ireland. And we go to Birmingham to see how hot we can stand our chillies. Let us know your thoughts on Twitter using the hashtag #DigitalNation. Our first trip is to Scotland, where a professor of anatomy from Edinburgh University is working together with a local technology company to create the world's first holographic 3D atlas of the human body. Students of the future will be able to view us in a whole new way.
Holoxic has been working on a holographic 3D atlas of the human body. This was a project that we did together with Edinburgh University, and it was the original idea of Professor Gordon Finlater, who's the professor of anatomy over there. Teaching the 3D structures, the internals of the human body, is actually very difficult because all of the material that's available right now is in a two-dimensional format. And it's absolutely essential for the students and for the trainees to view this information in 3 dimensions.
Designing a 3D holographic atlas of the human body is, of course, the dream job of every single anatomy student, of doing something that no one's ever done before and also combining your digital and anatomy knowledge. This human atlas is a world first.
Holographic 3D technology doesn't need any glasses or wearables. You just view the images in 3 dimensions. Our technology is positioned just a little bit beyond this. It will be the future of imaging and of television and video as we know it.
The Bodleian Museum in Oxford has recently made an outstanding discovery of a 500-year-old Mexican manuscript. Using a special kind of scanner, the team have found relics of civilization dating back to the time of the Spanish conquest, hidden in layers under the surface of a strip of deer hide.
A manuscript offering a look into early Mexican culture has been uncovered at the Bodleian Library. A team of 3 researchers have managed to find delicate works underneath a 5-metre-long strip of deer hide. David Howell was one of the researchers.
So this is an object that's been of interest since the 1950s. We have shown there is another codex underneath what you can see on the surface.
But the work wouldn't have been possible without a special scanner, the only one of its kind in Europe.
So the machine is not like a normal scanner. A normal scanner tries to replicate the human eye, so it sees red, green and blue. So things that are absolutely invisible to the human eye, this machine will reveal for us.
So why exactly should we be excited about the discovery?
They're a relic of a civilization that was kind of... there's no other memory of this civilization after the Spanish conquest, mainly because these collections weren't recognised as being important or their significance really fully realised. But now they're fantastically important because they are just the remnants of the sort of Miztec, Aztec civilization that we sort of read about in our history books.
With the manuscript dating back over 500 years, David explained the problems they faced while doing their research.
They're incredibly delicate. So you have skin on which you have a layer of sort of clay, which is kind of crumbly, and then you have these really thin layers of pigment. So we handle them with extreme caution, and we try not to handle them at all if we can help it.
With the scanner still in use by the team, who knows what will be uncovered next?
With prison reoffending rates on the rise, it's a welcome surprise when a successful education project for inmates is put on general display. In Bristol, the results of an art and design course across the southwest have been entered into a competition, with the exhibits being auctioned off to the benefit of local charities.
Dear Western College, just a quick note to let you and your staff know how much the education department has done for me since entering prison. You have all welcomed myself and others without prejudice and with a great deal of professionalism. For this, we all thank you. I would like to point out that the art and design course has done me the world of good, enabling me to de-stress and use my time locked up in a constructive way. As I have trained as a mentor, I am now able to use both of these skill sets to help others and have in turn helped myself. I believe greatly in the power of art and would love to see it expanded within Dartmoor. Once again, thank you and your staff.
Speaking out from the inside. The words of just one of many prisoners from across the southwest who was given the chance to express feelings and opinions through art.
Well, it's the first of the kind that we've staged in the southwest, and it's based here in the Western College Conference Centre, and it shows all of the work that a lot of our learners in the educational departments within the Southwest Prison Network have produced, especially for this competition. We've got over 90 entries here, and only 6 learners had entered any kind of arts competition previously, so it really shows you how much interest there's been in the competition, which is fantastic.
With resources few and far between for those incarcerated, inmates used anything they could, including pillowcases, as a canvas for their work.
So we've seen a piece that's been made on a prison bedsheet, which in itself is remarkable, and it's certainly not the kind of canvas that you'd usually expect to see. The quality of work that's on there is staggering. You'd usually expect it to be on paper or some other form of canvas, not a bedsheet.
The competition aims to give confidence, self-esteem and self-worth to prisoners, with now their work soon to be auctioned off and donated to local charities.
Cambridge TV went to see only one of 2 airworthy Lancaster bombers, which has now had its own purpose-built hangar to help restore it back to full flying condition. The Queen's favourite aircraft, the Lancaster, is an essential part of the Battle of Britain memorial flight over London.
Taking historic aircraft off the ground and into the sky. That's the purpose of the Aircraft Restoration Company's new hangar at IWM Duxford. The Stevenson hangar's been purpose-built for its first major project, the restoration of the RAF Battle of Britain memorial flight's Avro Lancaster. Made famous for its part in the World War II dam buster raids, the Lancaster's now only one of 2 of its kind in an airworthy condition and has a special place in the country's heart.
The aircraft arrives with us on the 10th of October. It'll take most of the space in here by the time we've got the tooling around it, and it's with us for then 7 months. A team of 14 people full-time, and then she'll be ready for next year's season. Obviously it was a Second World War 4-engine bomber. Became famous during the war because of the dam buster raids and things like that. The public just loved it. They loved the success for the aeroplane, and it was always in the press. And so today they remember that, and the history's been passed down to youngsters, and the youngsters recognise the Lancaster, and so it's in people's hearts. And apparently it's also the Queen's favourite aeroplane, and so with the London flybys, she's always looking for the Lancaster. And so it's very important to keep it up there for her.
Among the aircraft to make their new home in the Stevenson hangar, Geoffrey Dalton Stevenson's very first Spitfire, the LAN-3200. It was shot down in 1940 during the evacuation of Dunkirk, but after being rediscovered and fully restored, over 70 years later, it's come home to where Stevenson's journey first began.
It's not the first time the aircraft's been in the spotlight. Last year, His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge had a chance to see it in flight. And with the new hangar, the Aircraft Restoration Company say sites like this will become more frequent.
Have you ever wanted to know how to keep your car running smoothly? Well, Gretchen Kessler from Made in Cardiff receives a lesson in how to service an engine. Although not quite the family saloon kind, but go-kart sized. Well, you've got to start somewhere.
Today, Alex is going to teach me how to be a mechanic.
Today we're going to show you how we service a car on a monthly basis, inspect it, and we're going to work on an engine and just get the engine in, a good condition, and then we'll work onto the chassis then later on.
All right, sounds good. Let's give it a shot.
So first of all, we want to drain the engine oil, and this gets done on a monthly basis. So I'll always change the engine oil every month.
So what's next after the oil's draining out?
Well, we'll inspect the spark plug to make sure that it isn't burnt or... So if you want to crack this off,
okay, what do I do?
Pull towards me. if you can. There we go.
Okay.
That was easy enough. And just keep going, back and forth.
Oh, not so hard.
No, pretty easy.
Oh.
There we go, it's out. Lift it up. And as you can see on the actual spark plug, it's actually still white inside there. So we don't really have to change this. Next stage now is a carburetor. So it's obviously where all the fuel passes through to get inside the engine. We need to make sure that is clean. So any little dirt can get inside there, can stop the engine running or make it run poorly.
So now do we get to build everything up?
Yeah, so now what we'll do is we'll move on to the engine. So next what we'll do is get the engine back on the cart. So that is the cart tracked up.
Cool. Why don't we go look out the track now? So, Alex, you ready to race?
Yep.
All right, last one to the finish line is a rotten egg. Woo!
That's all for the first half of the show, so that means it's quiz time. I'm bored with it all is said to be the final sentence uttered by which Great Britain? Was it A, Admiral Horatio Lord Nelson, B, Sir Winston Churchill, or C, Isambard Kingdom Brunel? We'll give you the answer after the break. Welcome back to Digital Nation. Before the break, we asked you, I'm bored with it all is said to be the final sentence uttered by which Great Britain? And the answer is B, Sir Winston Churchill. From schoolboy failure to wartime hero, Winston Churchill's astonishing life made him a British icon. To Manchester now, where children's author Michael Rosen has helped create a bear hunt exhibition based on his successful book. The pupils of one local school were given the opportunity to meet him in person and perform their individual version of his famous story, but with their own special twist.
A steep, rocky path. We can't go round it, we can't go under it. Holy guacamole!
The children from Thameside Corrie Primary School were given the chance to perform their adaptation of We're Going on a Bear Hunt to the creator himself, Michael Rosen. But instead of going on a bear hunt, the children decided to go on an ogre hunt, beating hundreds of schools around Greater Manchester. They were the first to explore the new interactive Michael Rosen exhibition, suitably called Bear Hunt, Chocolate Cake and Bad Things.
I'm absolutely overwhelmed with pride. The children worked really hard on it. They really enjoyed it. And we always teach them, to try your best and good things might happen.
I think it was really imaginative, it was really good fun as well, and that's the thing, reading and writing can be really good fun. The exhibition here is so much fun, the kids have just spent the last hour screaming, they've been enjoying it so much.
It's full of variation and excitement, and what a lovely idea to turn the bear into an ogre, which is something else we're scared of, and it's got the same sort of heart-in-mouth kind of spirit that Bear Hunt's got.
The children certainly had a great time, but there is a strong message behind today's exhibition. According to research uncovered by the Z Arts charity, who is hosting the Bear Hunt exhibition, children from Manchester are lagging behind in their literacy abilities. Figures show that children should be exposed to 60,000 words by the age of 3, but in Greater Manchester they are only being exposed to 20,000.
We really need to see more parents reading to the kids at night. Those bedtime stories are so important in inspiring children to read for pleasure.
Forming this exhibition, this incredible exhibition, is part of being able to address that and to stimulate children to want to read and to want to access and use language, looking to role models like Michael Rosen.
To Brighton now. and a local charity has enlisted the help of local businesses and celebrities to help support their Snow Dog by the Sea campaign. In aid of hospice care for people with life-limiting illness, the unique dogs have been created by artists from around the Brighton area.
At Martlet's, we support people who are living through a life-limiting illness, and we deliver life-changing hospice care. The challenge to continuously raise money and look for new initiatives to inspire people to give us money, it's ongoing.
To bring the dogs to life, Martlet's Hospice collaborated with local businesses, individuals, artists and celebrities.
The community and the businesses around Brighton and Hove have just been phenomenally excited by this, really bought into the campaign, and each business sponsored a dog. From there, we then enlisted the help or the expertise of a whole raft of very experienced artists from across Brighton and outside of Brighton.
The whole project for me, it had my name written all over it. Martlet's means a lot to me. I lost a family member who spent their final days there. So the Martlet's thing works. The idea of an art trail for kids. I've got kids. I like art. I've got a very good friend who's an artist called Riker. And also just I love all the eccentric things that Brighton does. And anything that Brighton does that's eccentric, I tend to end up getting involved in some way or other. And yeah, as a local businessman, it's great to be able to contribute this. As an art fan, it's great to be able to finance this wonderful piece of art. It actually will play music, so it's a living, breathing boombox. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boomer.
Creative Kingdom time now. Have you ever wondered who was responsible for your state benefits?
If you're looking for the source of one of the most important pieces of legislation of the 20th century, you need to start here in Liverpool and a councillor called Eleanor Rathbone. She successfully helped campaign for the female right to vote, but she didn't stop there. In 1918, she published Equal Pay in the Family, a proposal that demanded a family allowance for the true head of the household, your mum. 11 years later, after becoming an independent MP, she refused to let go of the idea, to the point where junior ministers and civil servants would run and hide behind pillars when they saw her coming. But finally, in 1945, her mission was accomplished when the government introduced the Family Allowances Act, the first law to provide child benefit in the UK. Proof once again that when it comes to creativity, innovation, and being the people's voice and the housewife's choice, in Liverpool Mint.
Since 1920, 5 generations of the same family have run a water-powered mill in Temple Patrick, Northern Ireland, hand-making spades and shovels. NVTV in Belfast went along to watch the whole process, beginning with the raw metal to the finished article, still using traditional methods.
Just to give you a wee bit of history on the mill itself, Patterson's bought it over in 1917 and they were up and running by sort of 1920, and then there was 5 generations of Patterson's worked here right up to 1990. The whole thing is water powered, and it's water powered through a water turbine, and the water turbine itself is quite an age. It was bought out of Connecticut and America in 1875. And was fitted between 1875 and 1890. They're not just sure exactly when it was fitted. You're taking your blade from the very start, you're hammering it out, you're putting a shaft into it, and then you're seeing the finished product. A lot of people coming along to Patterson's here, you know, they are coming initially to see the spades being made, but when they come in through the door and they see the old machines, the belt-driven machines, the line shafts going, and they see all the machines working, it just brings the whole thing alive to them.
Myeloma is an incurable cancer of the blood and bone marrow, and sometimes patients die within weeks of diagnosis. In Nottingham, a woman who lost her brother due to the disease has set up a foundation along with Nottingham Hospital's charity to help in the research of the condition.
an incurable cancer of the blood and bone marrow. Multiple myeloma takes thousands of lives a year, including Sophia Skyer's brother, Basil.
It was obviously a devastating blow for the family. He's my only sibling as well, my parents' only son, and we saw that it could have an actual very devastating impact, as well as the psychological aspects of it. The economic and social aspects are profound, really, and we wanted to do something about that.
Currently, there is no cure, but certain treatments can keep the condition under control for many years. But latest figures still show that 1 in 6 people die within 60 days of diagnosis.
A lot of patients have been to their GP on a number of occasions because the symptoms of myeloma can be incredibly difficult to pick up. Patients can be tired, they can be breathless, they can have an increased risk of infections, and these can be caused by an awful lot of other conditions. And so it can be difficult for general physicians and other healthcare professionals to pick up on the signs of myeloma and to be able to detect it.
The Basil Skyers Foundation has now teamed up with Nottingham Hospital's charity to carry out research into this condition.
I was struck by the enthusiasm and drive and the getting things done of Sophia. So she's hard to ignore, and she brought up an interesting situation that we would have not known about had it not been for her.
Myeloma affects the whole community, and our charity works with the whole community. But within that, myeloma does disproportionately affect the Black African and Black Caribbean community. It's not really referenced. We want to look at that in a very inclusive way that looks at, why does this happen, so that we can actually benefit all patients as a result.
The annual Birmingham Chili Festival not only celebrates all things chili, but also challenges the tolerance of its competitors as to who can eat the hottest and be the chili champ. The competition this year was hotly fought and could be witnessed by the expressions on some of the participants' faces.
The annual Birmingham Chili Festival returned to Brindley Place on Saturday. In its 7th year, the festival featured a packed schedule of live music and street performances, alongside the popular chili produce market, which began the previous day. The most exciting hour of the Birmingham Chili Festival is the popular chili eating competition, as ever run by Paul Whitehead and bringing in a huge crowd.
This is the 6th year of the Birmingham Chili Festival here in Brindley Place, and every year people's tolerance of chilies increase. So this year has been pushed the highest of what we've ever done here in Brindley Place.
3, 2, 1, cheers!
The competition was so hot at this year's Birmingham Chili Festival that there is now a king and queen of chili eating.
I'm hot stuff and I don't like to lose, so I'm going to win.
And that's it for this week's show. We hope you've enjoyed your journey around the country with our local TV channels. Don't forget, you can catch up on previous episodes of the show by going to bbc.co.uk/Digital Nation. Or why not log on to the website of your local TV channel. So until next time, goodbye.